So now that we are approaching the end of the summer and we've had a lot of things that has happened over the past month, I wanted to do a bit of a vibe check regarding Pokemon Go just to see how the game is doing. And I'll be honest with you, I think the game is doing pretty good, but there's a few things that I am really concerned about, which I feel like are huge missed opportunities for Niantic to address over the recent weeks that they've had after Pokemon Go Fest. Alright, what's happening everyone? Count Jinsula here with a brand new Pokemon Go video. I hope your day is going really well, and let's get right into it. So today we're going to be doing a bit of a vibe check with Pokemon Go. I feel like I make these videos at least once a month, but it's been a while since the last time I've talked about Pokemon Go and how I'm feeling about it. Overall, I'm very positive about Pokemon Go. I think the last couple of months have been really good in terms of content. We of course had the Pokemon Go Fest live event in Jersey City, which I attended, and then of course we had the global Pokemon Go Fest, and I think those were done extremely well. Introducing both Crown Form Zacian and Zamazenta was such a great call because on top of the rating content being so good, we got ourselves some super powerful Pokemon that does require quite a bit of effort in order for us to get. And if you did not attend any of the Go Fest events, then you will get a second opportunity to get the Crowned Energy to get their Crown Forms with the Max Finale event, at least the lead up to it. So I'm really glad about that because on top of players getting a chance to get both Zacian and Zamazenta, we'll also be able to get the Crowned Energy for their Crown Forms, which are proving to be extremely powerful. One thing that I really like that they are doing is that they're keeping up with the power scaling of the game. As certain aspects of Pokemon Go get a lot more difficult, they of course include a lot more powerful Pokemon over time, so it's not going to be something that players are going to have a hard time keeping up with. But at the same time, of course, because there is power scaling, for people who are just starting off in Pokemon Go, it might seem incredibly overwhelming because there's going to be a lot of Pokemon that they will need to get in order to find some success. Recently, it was the Crown forms of both Zamazenta and Zacian, but before that, it was the fusion forms of both Necrozma as well as Kyurem. If you missed out on any of that content, you're essentially behind compared to most players. So I do think that is something that Niantic does need to keep in mind. Maybe they can make it so that both fusions of Kyurem as well as Necrozma make their way into Pokemon Go at least on a yearly basis, so that for new players who are just jumping into Pokemon Go, they're not missing out on some of the most powerful Pokemon that you can get. Some of these are even more powerful, if not just as powerful as Mega Evolutions. That's just how great they are. And I really do think that because of the power scaling, it is something that they do need to keep in mind, especially for newer players. So yeah, I think that is just one concern that I've had with all of these super powerful Pokemon. Again, it's super exciting that we're getting these powerful Pokemon, but I am concerned about the power scaling because we are about to get Eternatus, and I have no idea how powerful that Pokemon is going to be. They're definitely setting it up to be the biggest Pokemon that we're ever going to get. In fact, it's going to be so powerful that the candy cost to power them up is in the thousands compared to just a regular legendary that we would power up. So that should tell you right away that this is going to be one of the most powerful Pokemon we're going to have. And I'm pretty sure in the future we're going to get even more power scaling. I think the biggest thing to still come to Pokemon Go is of course Mega Mewtwo. I think once that gets released, it's going to increase the power scale even more. And for all the people who are just still sitting on regular Mewtwo's as well as Pokemon like Tyranitar without the Mega Evolution, yeah, they're essentially falling behind. So yeah, I really hope they make these sort of things a lot more easier to obtain and a lot more frequent. Otherwise, people are going to fall behind. It does feel like in terms of power, there is definitely a lot more within Pokemon Go compared to about, I would say, 3 years ago. But another thing that I wanted to talk about is in regards to hyper training. I feel like golden bottle caps have kind of revitalized the Pokemon Go community with a bit of a slump that it was experiencing up until Pokemon Go Fest, I would say. I do feel like a lot more players are engaged, simply because of golden bottle caps. Some players, like myself, completed their golden bottle cap training within about 2 weeks. So for about 2 weeks, we were actively playing the game. I feel like I was logged in for an average of like 6 hours a day, just trying to complete hyper training. For me, it was all about completing a whole bunch of Team Go Rocket battles, walking as many kilometers kilometers as I can in order to get the candies. There was just a lot going on, and I felt like the grind was actually a lot of fun. There were many times where I just wanted to open up Pokemon Go to get a lot of progress in for hyper training, and it just felt really good. It felt like I was actively playing the game once again. But that only lasted for 2 weeks. It didn't take long for me to complete hyper training. I do understand that I did start hyper training on a Pokemon that was already pretty well along. Like, for it to become a Shundo, it basically just required only about 2 weeks worth of work. I know there's some players out there who are going with a Pokemon that has much lower IVs, so it's going to take them much longer, and they're probably still actively playing the game. But I do feel like it's a bit of a missed opportunity that they did not include the silver bottle cap as a free reward for the Go Pass, because I do feel like that would have added even more engagement for Pokemon Go players. And also, it would have opened up a lot more players to actually engage in hyper training even on a smaller scale. I think that is a huge missed opportunity, and I totally recognize that maybe they would have sold less Go Passes because of that. Like, if they included the silver bottle cap like what we all thought they would do, yeah, maybe the amount of players who would have been spending $20 to get the golden bottle cap may have been a lot less. But I do think there would have been a lot more engagement, and I do think that engagement is a much more lucrative measurement compared to just in-app sales. Because the way I say that is because, if you think about it, if they included the silver bottle cap, you would definitely see a lot more players engaging in hyper training, even though it's going to be just for one stat. But that's a lot more players that are actively playing the game every single day. That means there's a chance they might spend more money on, let's say, raid passes if they need to complete the raid battles metric. I think the way that I completed it was with the Hisui and Lilligant raid day. But again, those are raid passes that I purchased specifically so that I could complete that hyper training. That is money that they earned, and that is potentially money that they could have earned from someone who just went with the silver bottle cap for free. These are some of the things that I'm thinking about. I do feel like engagement is so much more important, and I do feel like they missed out on some of that engagement simply because they did not include the free silver bottle cap, which should have been a part of the Go Pass in my opinion. So yeah, I really do hope that for future Go Passes where they're going to include the golden bottle cap, they should also consider adding the silver bottle cap as the free track reward. I think that would go a lot better, and ultimately, I believe it'll make them a lot more money than they could potentially earn with just having the golden bottle cap. So yeah, that's just some of the things that I've been thinking about regarding hyper training. I think for the 2 weeks, it was just a really great time and it was a lot of engagement, but it essentially fizzled out. And now I find myself in a place where, again, it goes back to kind of how it was before hyper training. There's not too much to do in Pokemon Go aside from engaging with some of the timed limited research, maybe the collection challenges, but a lot of that stuff can get completed within a day. So there is sometimes, I feel like, some content slump. Maybe if the raid boss is actually worth raiding, then I will do a lot more raids than I usually would. I've certainly felt that over the past couple of weeks with Terrakion, with Lunala, and Solgaleo. But aside from them, I don't really feel compelled to open up Pokemon Go like I did with hyper training. So I think those are some of the things that I really hope they look into, because when it comes to Pokemon Go, if I were to give a vibe check, yes, the game is in a much better place than it was even a year ago, but there's still a couple of things that I feel like they could do to make the experience a lot more engaging. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. I just kind of wanted to just dump some of my thoughts. I know this video is a lot more subjective than it typically would be. It's a lot of my own personal opinions, and I totally recognize that some players might have a completely different look of Pokemon Go right now. Maybe some players are saying that the game is not in a good place compared to how it was. That's totally understandable because everyone experiences this game in a completely different way. That's one of the good things about it. It's a sandbox game. But at the same time, this has just been my experiences, and I do feel like the game is a lot of fun, especially compared to how it was before. I think Niantic has done a lot of really great things, especially after they announced that the company was going to get sold to Scopely. I feel like that kind of broke a lot of chains that they were under. I've been saying this a lot on my YouTube channel, but I do feel like with the sale to Scopely, they no longer care all about some of the things that have caused some really bad design decisions, like all of the stuff related to AR mapping technology. there's not a lot of that anymore. At least there still is, but it's not as much of an emphasis. There's a lot of features that are coming that are actually gameplay related rather than some useless feature that not a lot of players are going to care about. Like, I don't know, some of the advancements to AR technology that no one might be aware of. Like, there are some times where I do care about it if I want to get like a really cool picture for Instagram or something, but aside from that, it's like, it's not something that I'm actively doing every single day. So what was the point of spending all of that development time and hours just producing some sort of new AR picture taking feature where you can get a bunch of Pokemon on the screen rather than just one, and then having them do some sort of interaction? Like, that looked like it took a lot of development, but I don't feel like anyone really uses it more than once every so often. So I just feel like what they should be putting their energy into is gameplay related stuff. And that's what's going to drive more money, that's going to drive more engagement, a lot more players to start playing their game. And it really feels like they've shifted their focus to that stuff because there's been some really solid gameplay implementations in the past year. And I think a big part of that is because of the sale to Scopely. Because Niantic and John Hanke and all those people who care really deeply about AR technology, they're essentially completely hands-off of Pokemon GO as of right now. So I think because of that, the developers of Pokemon GO, they have more free reign to make an actual quality game. And I feel like Pokemon GO is going in that direction. But again, maybe some people are completely in disagreement, but we'll see. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Let me know your thoughts regarding everything that I talked about down below. Again, like I said, this is subjective, so maybe you have some disagreements. If you do, definitely share it in the comments down below, and yeah, let's have a great discussion. And thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if it's your first time here, and don't forget the notification bell so you can stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And real quick, let me give a shout out to all of my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support the Jinsula channel, the best thing you can do is, of course, joining my Patreon. If you become a paid Patreon member, I'm going to add you to my Pokemon GO friends list. So that means for stuff like remote raids, the friendship system, opening and sending gifts. If you want to play Pokemon GO with me, then make sure you go and check out my Patreon. I'll put a link to it in the description below. And if you want to support my channel in a different way, you're always welcome to do so by following me on social media. My handle is @Jinsula. I'm on the platforms you see on the bottom of your screen. Make sure you go over there and give me a follow. And that'll be a huge help to my channel, and you'll have access to some exclusive content, and you'll be able to keep up with my daily life. With all that said, that's going to be it for this video. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself today, and I'll catch you in the next one.